Sometimes I look in the mirror and see something that I hate. Like why is my skin not clearing? How can I motivate myself and my predecessors? It helps when I send a message to people who need the leverage. As long as I help a soul, I'll be fine. Pick up the phone, share opinions, and keep your thoughts on the line. To know the traits that you married, they split the rules at that time. Self-inflicted rules must have been a past life. Deep in thoughts that miscreation. Writer's block since last night. I'm looking for something else, cause I don't know what it is. It's flipping my life in circles, it's in a positive bridge. Focus right, the pose right, the culture like this is how I know I'm right. My soul like nights and vultures just in him. Keep the culture just be real. What you wrote in the past, keep me held down to my roots, cause God said the first I'll be last. You're in a federal prison and your own making, that's living through hesitation. Living out beginning to formulate your creation. Lord, read text that keep your mess, I don't know mistakes they go. Running miles from block, I don't know what they're chasing. Lord, teach me what you know and I won't keep it to myself. I need some help, cause there's no love that they can give in themselves. Go city getting hot, people dying. It's just hell and it's heaven in our ground. Just can't get the heart tell I never fell, cause I don't feel it. And 1999 was the year they say secure. I'm all for one, I'm all for you, I'm all for love and a dream come true. I fix its repercussions, a long time effort buddy, so every G should be exactly what it is, it's stunning. I'm all for one, I'm all for you, I'm all for love and a dream come true. I fix the repercussions, a long time effort buddy, so every G should be exactly what it is, it's stunning. Yeah.
Okay, y'all ready? Remember when we start off where we left off with Kuma leaving the chair and his perspective. You remember mom raising child.
Move like rats, move in packs. Whip for that cheese, coming through the cracks. The race is on, facing facts. Stuck in my ways, I can't escape that trap. Move like rats, move in packs. I whip for that cheese, coming through cracks. The race is on, facing facts. Stuck in my ways, I can't escape that. I'm trapped. You don't got raw, you don't got shit. No parachute coming out the cockpit. Fall, just can't stop it. 5 if you gon' sell anything profit. Baby boy.
Good evening, people. Welcome to the USA Black Business Network. We got off to a slow start today. The reason being is because I wanted to make it real special. One of the reason why I wanted to make it special is because, I was kind of called out for speaking my mind, but more importantly, just telling the truth about the state of black business here in Rhode Island and the challenges, and not to mention the challenges, but more so the hurdles and obstacles, which is challenges essentially, and why that only 4% of businesses in Rhode Island is black owned. I've been in Rhode Island for a long while, and one of the things that I wanted to touch base on is some of the peoples or powers that be that is supposed to be helping or growing the black businesses here in Rhode Island. And as you can see to the right of me, left, right, however you look at it, when I'm pointing to my right. To the right of me, you see a picture of Senator Jack Reed, Treasurer, I think his name is Seth, and a couple of other people and awards people, and Sheldon Whitehurst. That guy is a good guy. I like that guy. I've met him personally, and I really think he does mean well. This is the SBA. This is an award ceremony for people who are doing well with the assistance of the Small Business Administration. If you notice, I don't see any persons of color there. When I say color, I mean African Americans specifically, because I do represent the U.S. Black Business Network. But just moving all along, I just wanted to touch base and show you, they actually call this JPEG the SBA help. The SBA should be helping all businesses get to a place where we'll be able to receive funding and it'll be a more equitable society. However, the problem is and will remain until we all come together to support one another and challenge status quo, because they're not going to change anything until they see we are requiring change. Government's supposed to represent all people. However, what I notice is that it doesn't. And the reason why it doesn't is because the people who lack the access of resources, or the least vocal or the least visible, usually gets slim to none. And then they put people in position, and that's what I really wanted to touch base on, how they put people in position who's supposed to help bring up those people who don't have a voice, who have to spend 60 and 70 hours working, to support and provide for their families, and just be consumers as opposed to actually being entrepreneurs or business owners. Banks don't lend money to African Americans, and when they do, it's very small amounts that kind of really, it's called a shoestring budget, for a lack of a better term. That's what it is. It's a shoestring budget. And I wanted to come on here and touch base on that problem that we're facing here in Rhode Island, and to see what we can do to fix that narrative and change that, because it's needed. Also, I wanted to call out in particular one person or one organization that is supposed to be really on the front lines and making sure of there's more equity here in Rhode Island. And that organization is REBA. REBA is the Rhode Island Black Business Association. Hold on one second. Let's put that up there. REBA. Okay, text. I'm doing this real time, so excuse me for the delay, but just to get right to it. Reba. Reba is supposed to be changing that or on the front lines of that challenge. Again, the name says it all. The Rhode Island Black Business Association. And they're there to help what it seems like black businesses to raise to the level to help combat what we call the inequities that we see in Rhode Island. And the lady at the helm, her name is Lisa Ragland, that I've had the pleasant or really the unpleasant pleasure of meeting her and texting her and signing up for her programs, or the programs that actually don't have a place for an entrepreneur or a black man of my stature that has what I would like to say some skill sets that could help lend itself to fix those issues. As you can see, I'm doing technical stuff here. I've built a few podcasts. I've built buildings, brick and mortar, to help other entrepreneurs get to a place where they can say and see the benefits of or realize the American dream. Now, one of the things that Miss Lisa did that caused me to change my whole direction for today was she kind of called me out. And I like to put that up here so we can talk about it and display. I want to show you how there's illusions taking place. And I think in that illusion, we need to call it out when we see it. One of the things that I'm saying that she called me out, and I'll put it up here, she kind of like, for lack of a better word, she was like, what have I done? What am I doing? What does the U.S. Black Business Network do? And why haven't we seen you? Is basically what was her question to me about, because I asked her, I said to her, I said, hey, because one of the things I've noticed is the lack of black men participating in the programs that she's supposed to offer. She offers a lot of programs that I consider certifications. This is my email, as you can see my pictures here. Let's blow this up a little bit. So now, like I was saying, and I'm going to move along, get a little faster with this, because I want to make sure I address all the things that I see. So if you see Miss Lisa, she responded to my text message on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn, by the way. But the challenge is some people are more about photo ops to make it look, to give you the illusion like they actually are doing something in society, when that may not be the case. But to get back to what I'm talking about, as you can see, Miss Lisa responded to my message. And my message stated it was, yes, you do inspiring events and you always put up pictures and post things that you consider to be beneficial to the black community or all communities is my question, because I know you have a Portuguese Chamber of Commerce, you have Progresso Latina, and when I see them, I don't see them doing enough. Even though they call themselves Afro-Latinas and whatnot, I don't see them working really hard in the black community. So when I think of the Rhode Island Black Business Association or Miss Reba Langland, I think that's you. That's your calling. The name of your business says that. So getting back to what I'm trying to say to you, I asked her, where's the black men? Why don't I see them in the events? And as you can see, her response is, do your part. Did you show up? Did you invite black men to the public events? Again, she said, did I show up? Okay. The reason why I didn't show up, I was tempted, but the reason why I didn't is because literally I filled out all the paperwork. I filled out the application to participate in her leaders program, her leadership program. I've asked for services to assist me with the MBE, WBE application, which is the minority business enterprise. And that is a company that is supposed to be about diversity, equity, and inclusion. But that's a whole nother podcast that I'll do. Just to still address this, and Miss Lisa Wrangling, I want to show you finally what I've been doing. Okay?
How you went about feeling it more? If you would've chose, ain't nobody would've felt to that. I just I can bring my balance and the right challenges you to that.
To more like their children, their homework, prepare meals, bathe, and dress their children, compared to fathers of other races. So the
Listen, issues are biased. Niggas really do be fire. They ain't coming to inspire. Yourself will be admire. Yeah, I don't need a reason.
Okay, so like I was saying, this is what I'm doing. So Dominant Alliance Productions is a multimedia production company. So with the multimedia production company, we help people with podcasts, we help record, mix, master, and engineer music. We use music or the arts to teach STEAM, science, technology, engineering, and math to our youth, which I might add, the system here is broken. Our kids are failing. They are way behind, but they're not using the tools or the people or the resources to change that narrative. They've been failing for multi-years, and they'd rather point the finger instead of finding solutions, more like people of color who can actually change that. But let's talk about it. This is what I'm doing. So I've acquired some land in Texas, and we're building on it.
To be all I been looking for a breach, cause you love innovating. You cannot police something that's truly seamless. Get it through your calcifying modes of reasons really free him. Fuck you if you think we not.
So that's the land we're doing, and I'm gonna show you what it's gonna look like. So we was on vacation, and as you can see, look at all the houses. So I've partnered up with a developer who's going to assist me in building homes, affordable homes, to people of color in a community of color, to revitalize the old homes that are currently in that area, as well as develop new land in these areas. And one of my major sticking points is why I partnered with my developer is to maintain and keep. See, look at this. This is beautiful, is it not? Is to, build homes. One of my statements is generational wealth starts with land. You take the land, you develop the land, build houses, and then one of the biggest reasons why I partnered with this particular developer is to be able to give at least, not necessarily least, I'm saying the very least is $50,000 worth of equity to each individual who purchases a home to live in the communities that we're developing. So when they talk about Black Wall Street and the black community, I think we have to build our own. Because if you go to New York, almost every major city, you have a Chinatown, and now you have almost a Latin-based community. And, I'm proud of them for their work. I mean, the government's made it easier for them to access resources, and they still continuously make it difficult. And one of the points I wanted to touch base on is, as they gave access to these people, the Chinese, to develop businesses in the black community and ensure that the black community couldn't develop businesses in the black community. Okay, it's weird, ain't it? They went right along with status quo. I don't know if they were trained and taught that. I know when I worked the job and I was excelling, certain other peoples that were in high positions like myself were actually telling other employees or encouraging or discouraging other employees not to socialize with me. And obviously he happened to be a white guy and I'm a black guy. I'm pretty sure you know that. But back to what I'm saying. So I'm taking land, acres of land, and I'm building communities so we can so my people can buy homes, and we want to give them at least at least $50,000 worth of equity in their homes, meaning they could walk right after they close, they could walk right back to the same bank and ask to refinance, and that $50,000 should be able to pay their mortgage for literally like 2 to 3 years. That's how we help individuals. And we're not doing, crappy houses. I want to show you. I was flying my drone through the house. Let's play it real quick. Took my family out there. We had a good time. These houses are specifically in Florida right now, but the same developer that developed these is the person I'm working with to develop our land out in Texas. Okay? So we just enjoying ourselves. This was a little family vacation that my oldest son, as you can see him right there with his kids, enjoyed. It was fun, and I love it. And I miss, more black people or more camaraderie and how we used to be. It took a community, it took a village to raise the families. But now it's about home ownership and developing lands. So as you can see, this was us out in Florida. I flew the drone in the house just to give you a little preview of what the actual houses will look like. Because like I said, the people who built these homes are the people that I'm contracting to build our homes on the land in Texas. So that's one thing I wanted to share with you guys. Let's pause this, get back to outside, show y'all what the houses look like. So this is the big project, okay? The big project is building homes. As you can see, every week I put it on there. It starts with land. You take land, you build homes, you move people in, and you give them equity, $50,000 in equity in their homes. Give them something to be proud of. And that's what me as an African American man is doing for my people. But more importantly, instead of extracting resources, which a lot of our immigrants do, and I understand because they come from other places, and go and develop their countries. I'm from America. I was born here. My grandfather, my grandmother, his father, his father, his mother was born right here. And we died and shed blood right here. So we deserve to develop here. And that's how I feel. And we'll touch on education as well. But let me show you another video to give you more of an understanding where I'm coming from.
And other things, they're all they use. The reason Americans care about civil rights, the reason we are sensitive to racism is for one issue and one issue only, and that is how black Americans were treated in this country. It is because of the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow. Those do not compare. Irish, the new groups, they always get a little bad treatment. Do not compare that to how blacks are treated in this country. You don't get to piggyback on the black experience in America. You do not get to do that just because you are a woman, an immigrant, gay, Hispanic. No, the rest of you can go F yourselves. No, this is for black Americans. We seem to have forgotten that. It's not a rainbow coalition.
Various groups, feminist, gay rights groups, and those who are defending immigrants have commandeered the black civil rights experience.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
There is the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow laws. We don't owe the homeless. We don't owe feminists. We don't owe women who are desirous of having abortion. That's what civil rights has become for much of the left. Wait, what have we done to the immigrants? We owe black people something. We have a legacy of slavery. Immigrants haven't even been in this country. The black experience is different from any other experience in America. There is slavery, there is Jim Crow, so I really do resent it when people come along and say, well, you can't say the phrase illegal alien when you use the N-word. You can't say retard when you say the N-word. You can't say, I don't know, a million other things. They're all...
So let's get back to Reba. Reba, that's one of my projects, and I think she's of Jamaican descent, and she comes from Jamaica, and she's doing a job here to service the African American community, and I salute her. But I think it's important to be an inclusive organization. You know, me as a black or African American man, I take pride on helping my people, and I believe you mean well, yet I do feel sometimes you get lost and you would rather do what you did, just block me out because you don't like what I said. You don't like the fact that I'm asking you, where are the black men? We're here. With that being said, I want to play one more video for you. And forgive me, you're going to get all of them playing at once. Give me 2 seconds to fix that.
Are you in about feeling it all? Even with a child, you know about that. I just like to bring my
live with their children. Black fathers are more likely to help their children with their homework, prepare meals, bathe and dress their children compared to fathers of other races. So the absent or deadbeat black father myth that many believe is really more like a lie. There's been this landmark study from the Center for Disease Control, which debunked many of the myths surrounding black fathers. It found that the majority of black fathers for disease control, which debunked many of the myths surrounding black fathers. It found that the majority of black fathers live with their children. Black fathers are more likely to help their children with their homework, prepare meals, bathe and dress their children compared to fathers of other races. So the absent or deadbeat black father myth that many in America believe is really more like a lie. There's been this landmark study from the Center for Disease Control, which debunked many of the myths surrounding black fathers. It found that the majority of black fathers live with their children. Black fathers are more likely to help their children with their homework, prepare meals, bathe and dress their children compared to fathers of other races. So the absent or deadbeat black father myth that many in America believe is really more like a lie. There's been this...
It's a lie. Did you hear that? It's a lie. And I see daily, every day, and I work with daily, every day, African American men who are willing to stand up. But what I know in Rhode Island want African American men to volunteer their time. They're willing to give Reba $1.7 million for a building to give people certifications and loans while I'm building brick by brick buildings with my own money. And her business says the Rhode Island Black Business Association. She's asking me, let's put it back up on the screen. Slide that over. Okay. And let's see. You see? Do your part. Did you show up? Did you invite black men? So let's touch base on that. I had an event and I invited Reba. I invited the mayor of Providence. I invited Chachi Cavallo, who's in the equity division over in Pawtucket. I invited Miss Maria Rivera, the mayor of Central Falls, to my event, which was showcasing the black businesses. Actually, to be more specific, we had more black men businesses there. We also had our sisters there, and we had a couple of Latinos. So we're not exclusive, we're inclusive. But we had an abundance of African American men. And I work with a lot of black men who are willing to do the work and people who give up their time for free. So imagine what could happen if they had resources to be able to get some of this work done. Shout out to my brother Damon Scott, who works with the Wanubi Project. Shout out to the No Longer Trap podcast. Shout out to all my brothers who was actually at the Rhode Island Business Network. I'm gonna grab this and put this up on the screen so you can see what it looked like. There we go. But while I'm doing this, I wanted to just say I'm not about, hating on people. I'm not that type of, I don't have a hateful bone in my body. I'm more about being inclusive, working together. Now, if I see you doing things where you're not helping my people, what I'm supposed to do? I'm supposed to challenge that.
But I'm not really worried about it because we're going to grow anyway. Because every member of the podcast does what they're supposed to do. And in terms of stand-up, I've kind of already navigated all the challenges that I've had with that. I put stand-up on the back burner because I believe helping the podcast grow and elevating with Jatia and Cassie and Josh is going to feel a lot better.
See, this is what I envision. But when I see Reba, not saying that she isn't trying, I just don't see her in the communities that need her. That's the issue. I don't see working together. All these businesses and all these entrepreneurs are talking about the challenges, the lack of support, the lack of funding, the lack of just people coming out and being together. And that's what I have a problem with. We'd rather, Miss Lisa, delete people off of LinkedIn and ignore people when they reach out to you. Why? Is it because you dislike men? I just want to know. Because that's what it feel like. Because I'm going to challenge you. If I fill out an application and it takes you 4 or 5 months to reach back out to me, of course I'm going to say something. Most people's needs are more immediate. And if you're going to be the officer or the administrator of helping support our communities, then what do you expect? That's a task that you take on. Now, she's not the only one. There's quite a few politicians, like I've mentioned, the WBE and the MBE out here. And one of the biggest challenges is the mindset. They remove the Providence Plantations off the name, but I still see the Providence plantation mindset alive and well. And that's what I have a problem with. People like me are willing to do the work. So I implore you, Chachi Cavallo, Miss Rivera, Mayor Maria Rivera in Central Falls, Chachi Cavallo, the Chief Equity and Inclusion Officer for Pawtucket. I don't know the mayor, but I know Chachi really well. Then the mayor, Brett Smiley in Providence, Miss Lisa Wrangling. The list goes on and on. Seth, I would love for you to reach out. James Diosa. I believe we all together, together everyone achieves more. That's what it's supposed to be about. Teamwork makes the dream work. Again, teamwork makes the dream work. So I'm not upset, but I am disappointed that you'd rather just block me for asking you where the African American men are. If you said to me, hey, I would like you to help you reach out to some of these black businessmen. Look, see, I can do it. But when you delete me, you're saying this isn't an exclusive class. And your class consists of Latinos, immigrants, and women. It doesn't include men because I'm a willing, and able black man. And there's no need to be intimidated. I'm a very respectful man, but I'm a man. And we need that. Not just in business, but to help with our children, the education system. I got brothers that get up early in the morning to go put in some work for these kids without all the accolades and photo ops. And that's what it's supposed to be about. We've gotten too busy to celebrate people tying their shoes as opposed to celebrating when a person reaches a real benchmark, like graduating high school, like graduating college, like buying their first home, opening their doors, not certificates, not certifications. Certifications in certain specific fields is important, but not just a piece of paper. Lisa, the money could be used in better ways. There's plenty of things that we could do when there's funding. And I'm pretty sure my brothers and sisters, Latino, Afro-Latino, black brothers, black sisters, and immigrants together, working together, we can get a lot more done. That's all I'm going to say. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope you're not offended, but we, as the public, is supposed to ask questions and hold our officials and businesses who are given monies or tasked to help make things more equitable. We're supposed to hold you accountable. And if you're not strong enough to take that criticism, maybe it's time for our elected officials and government to pass the baton. I mean, in sports, people get old. Time for new. I still like Jordan, but everybody talking about Bron better than Jordan. Not to me. And I'm pretty sure in other eras you had Dr. J, Bernard King, I'm a New Yorker. But The list goes on and on. And it's the rightful passage. Don't be afraid. We're all here to work together. You see, we still talking about Jordan. He gets his flowers. So, again, I appreciate what Reba is supposed to be doing, but I need you to embrace these trenches. We outside. And come on in. I got a couple of brothers that I would like to introduce you to. Sisters as well. Okay? And the SBA, you need to be active in our communities as well. 4% of our businesses is black owned. That's ridiculous. That should not happen. And if it is happening like that, that means the SBA or any inclusion and equity department should be attacking that head on. It's unfortunate. We as black people are feeling the brunt of your lack of effort. And we're willing to work with you. Thank you. That's all I'm going to say. Have a good evening.